Africa is not just a land of cultures, it's a continent where the veil between the seen and unseen is thin. For thousands of years, Africans have believed that everything, stone, bone, cloth, metal, can carry divine essence. In African mysticism, symbols are not just decorations, they are portals. Amulets are not just jewelry, they are weapons. Ritual objects are not dead things, they are bridges to ancestral and spiritual worlds. Unlike Western mysticism, which often seeks to transcend the material world, African mysticism embraces the material as sacred. A drum isn't just an instrument, it is a voice. A mask isn't mere costume, it channels deities. Every item, when consecrated, becomes a vessel of power, purpose, and prophecy. This mystical worldview breathes through every culture, from the Dogon and Yoruba, to the Zulu, Igbo, Akan, and Congo. Colonial invaders dismissed these practices as superstition. But today, scholars, spiritualists, and even scientists are beginning to reconsider. Could these ancient tools be more than myth? Could they represent one of the oldest systems of spiritual technology on Earth? Through this documentary, we're peeling back layers of mystery, symbolism, and power. From sand-drawn sigils to carved figurines soaked in sacred herbs, African mysticism invites us into a living cosmos, where every object has meaning, every ritual has weight, and every symbol has soul. So prepare yourself, because what you're about to see may forever alter how you view the invisible world. Long before letters or alphabets, Africa had a language carved in symbol, whispered in fire, and spoken in cloth. The Nkisi of the Igbo and Ek people were not mere decorations, they were messages for the initiated, signs of law, love, warfare, and divine order. Nkisi symbols were etched into walls, skin, and pottery, preserving sacred knowledge across generations. In West Africa, the Akan people of Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire developed Adinkra symbols, a system so advanced that each icon is a compressed philosophy. The Eben represents security and home. Dwaf means cleanliness and feminine love. Eben is not just a drawing, it's a spell for safety. Then there's the Congo cosmogram, a cross within a circle. But it's far more than a geometric figure. It maps the cycle of life, birth, maturity, death, and rebirth. To the Bakongo, it's a diagram of the soul's journey and a guide for ritual transitions. Symbols were painted on bodies, tattooed on skin, and inscribed into shrines. They were not merely artistic but functional, used to invoke spirits, bind enemies, protect from curses, or unlock destiny. These were spiritual codes known only to the initiated. And even today, some of their meanings remain deliberately hidden. This symbolic mysticism proves one thing: African spirituality didn't just use symbols, it spoke in them. They were its script, shield, and signal to the gods. In Africa, battles were never only physical. The true war was fought in the unseen. That's why amulets were not accessories, they were shields, swords, and sometimes spells in wearable form. Take the cowrie shell. To the Yoruba and many others, it wasn't just currency, it was divine. Its slit resembled the vulva, making it a symbol of fertility, wealth, and feminine power. Cowries were sewn into amulets, embedded in divination tools, and used to detect lies, attract prosperity, and summon spirits. Then there's the Nkisi of the Congo people. These were carved wooden figures embedded with mirrors, nails, herbs, and sometimes even human relics. Each Nkisi was a spiritual contract, housing ancestral spirits or warrior deities to fight, heal, or curse. A Nkisi could speak. Through ritual, it could judge, protect, or punish. Among the Mande and Hausa, Grigri amulets, leather pouches filled with sacred texts, bones, or roots, offered protection against bullets, disease, or evil eyes. To this day, they are worn from Senegal to Mali, from Niger to diaspora communities in Haiti and New Orleans. These amulets weren't superstition, they were survival tools. Crafted by priests, empowered through rituals, and passed down through bloodlines, they represented the African mastery of spiritual physics. When an African warrior wore his amulet, he wasn't just armed, he was surrounded by forces beyond the reach of blades or bullets. Ritual objects in African mysticism are not inert, they are alive with intention. Take the talking drum, for instance. Beyond rhythm, it could mimic human speech. In Yoruba cosmology, it could transmit prayers, announce births, or even invoke Orisha deities like Sango, god of thunder. Then there's the divination tray, or Opan Ifa, used by Babalawo priests. On its carved wooden surface, sacred powder was sprinkled, and with palm nuts, a spiritual map was revealed. It wasn't fortune-telling, it was communication with Orunmila, the god of wisdom. In Igbo culture, the Ofo stick symbolized ancestral justice and divine authority. A chief or elder holding it wasn't just leading, he was channeling the power of the ancestors. In shrines, calabashes filled with potions, feathers, or sacred stones acted as spiritual vessels for offerings or spell work. Masks, too, weren't costumes, they were incarnations. When worn in ritual, the dancer became the spirit, be it a trickster, ancestor, or cosmic force. Entire villages would gather to witness the mask speak, dance, judge, or bless. Each object was activated through ritual. An ordinary stone became sacred when bathed in herbs and spoken over by a priest. A stick became a scepter when linked to a lineage. Ritual objects were the antennas of African spirituality, broadcasting intention, channeling divinity. The mystical practices of Africa didn't die, they evolved and traveled. Through the Atlantic slave trade, sacred traditions were carried to the Caribbean, the Americas, and beyond. Today, the roots of African mysticism bloom in global faiths like Vodou, Candomblé, Santeria, and Hoodoo. In Haiti, the Loa spirits resemble the Orishas of Yoruba origin. In Brazil, African drums still call the gods in syncretic Catholic rituals. Even in modern cities, African amulets are sold as protection charms, and spiritual tattoos replicate Adinkra symbols for energy and strength. In the age of AI and quantum theory, African mysticism is gaining new attention. Scholars now explore how symbols and objects influence consciousness. Psychologists study the healing power of ritual. African spiritualists are being re-recognized as scientists of the spirit realm. Today's healers, activists, and mystics wear Adinkra symbols on shirts, carry cowries on bracelets, and pray to ancient deities with modern tongues. African mysticism isn't just a past, it's a pulse. Because in the African worldview, time is not linear. The ancestors are not gone. And power is never lost, only waiting to be remembered. In a world obsessed with modern science and digital tools, the enduring power of African mysticism reminds us that some of the most profound technologies are spiritual, etched into symbols, spoken through drums, worn as amulets, and awakened in sacred rituals. These ancient practices aren't relics of the past, they're blueprints for a deeper understanding of reality, where the divine and the material merge, and every object holds potential for transformation. If this journey into the mystical heart of Africa moved you, taught you, or left you in awe, don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories hidden deep in history.